Literally souls from Germany, France and Italy. Save the hearts of the man them were bitterly. So when the year done around 1 trillion souls totally. Hey, me I tell you salvation is free now. You know to pay the salvation fee. Salvation available for you and me. Jesus paid the cost down from Calvary. So gospel to Jews land, gospel to Vetchers land, gospel to Pain land. I just saw me see a man, gospel to Papine. When I see Brian Zepin, use the word of Jesus and the sweet the place clean. Cause the gospel have to preach. When you pass souls we have to reach. Use the word of Jesus Christ, the gospel have to teach. Brian taking the gospel to the streets. From this crazy business. Souls me a pray for the area. Hey, so no surprise when you see me now you
Keep it tuned in to the station with the best variety of gospel music for every race, culture, and ethnicity.
From this moment.
Hey, radio listeners, this is Michelle Hyatt.
And this is Karim Hyatt,
host of Marriage in a Minute. Tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. right here on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network for encouraging words on marriage.
And listen, guys, check out our new website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And remember, you are the MVP in your marriage.
From this moment.
All right, Omega Radio listeners, right about now, we're going to go ahead and connect with the Hyatts here today for today's segment of Marriage in a Minute. We ask that you go ahead and stay locked in, stay tuned in, don't go anywhere, and don't touch that dial. The next voices that you'll be hearing are both Karim and Michelle Hyatt with Marriage in a Minute right here on Omega Radio. Over to you.
I don't know why she keeps messing with me saying, in your marriage. Every time I say it's your marriage.
It's not. It's your.
Your. Okay.
Anyway, it is 3:30. It is Saturday. I'm not sure if it's beautiful out, but you know what? I'll take it. I just spoke to my sister today, and she's in New York. She's like, it's not bad, but tomorrow it's going to be like 57. And I think sometimes when we take our outdoors for granted, our temperature, our weather here for granted, we forget that some people are having full-blown winter where they are. So that's why I encourage you guys to try to get out, do something with your spouse and your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your fiance, do something because it's so great just being outside, walking through the park, doing something, anything, and just to kind of create that intimacy, that friendship, that oneness. Yeah. So that's why we harp on it so much, because you could be living in a 28-degree weather right now. Maybe next month I'll say 28-degree, but it's 50s, it's 40s, and maybe even 20s in some place right now.
Like 50s or 40s, to be honest.
Yeah, I like my 80s.
Yes, we fish, so we love it.
We fish. But anyway, before we get started, just wanted to remind you guys that today is Light the Night. I have no idea what my husband did with the address, but he's got it. Light the Night. We don't do Halloween, but we celebrate the light of the Lord, right?
You are salt and light. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's today at 4 p.m. actually. It's coming up soon. If you're in the area and you have kids and you want to bring them out, it's going to be at 7800 Northwest 39th Street, Sunrise, Florida 33351. It's on University Drive between Oakland and Commercial Boulevard if you're in the area in Fort Lauderdale. So again, it's 7800.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's right off University Drive.
Yes.
So take the family, go out, bring the kids, bring basket, bring bags. They'll have enough candy to last them. And I think they shouldn't eat anything after maybe 6:30 because they'll be up all night with all that sugar. Yeah. But it's fun, and we do that so we can give back to the community. So please avail yourself, and lots of free hot dogs, food, and the message, the word.
Grilling.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. So head out, start. If you get out there right now, you'll be able to get good parking and good food before this ends at 7. But anyway, so today we're talking about, I don't know if we're going to get to all 8. I hope we do. But I think we're talking today about certain things that you probably should not. And I say probably because there could be 100 million more. But we just decided we were talking to a few people and just grabbing a little bit of a survey, and we got feedback from them. What about things that you should not tell your best friend before you tell your spouse?
Well, actually, I have a spin on that.
Oh,
I know my wife
gosh.
said that you should not tell your best friend, but if you are not friends with you are not friends, you will never be the first to know. So if your spouse is not your
If your
best
spouse
friend,
is not your best friend,
yeah,
you're probably going to be second or third
right. So
to know. And if it's a girl, it's going to be her friend, her mama,
yeah,
and all other people. But if you guys are really good friends, like you are my next, like if something happened and as we were preparing and discussing, I think we really felt, we were talking about some of them and we were like, well, this was not a deal breaker or a game changer, but some can be. So we're going to start with Proverbs 31. And of course, Proverbs 31 is about that lady, that wonderful lady. But anyway, her husband has full confidence in her. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. And we're not pointing out that this is stuff that women do, because we know a lot of men have their bromance going on with their best friends and their best bud bromance. You right? So you guys tend to tell your buddies before you tell your wives. But so this is not, we just thought about this verse about Proverbs. So, you can take it that way. But anyway, you can.
yeah. So 8 things you must tell your spouse before you tell your best friend. Well,
All right,
before you tell your friends, actually. I don't want to say best friend because I believe the closest person to you should be your best friend.
Should
your
be.
Spouse.
Yeah.
Some people have it where, they have best friends outside of their spouse, but that's just
We want that to
our-
be reversed. Yeah.
That's our take on it, that your spouse should be your best friend.
You're
because-
next.
Yes. So
All right.
8 things you must tell your spouse before you tell your friends.
Let's start with that one first,
Okay,
please.
So my wife wants to start with number 2. I lost my job.
Yeah. And you might think it's not the biggest deal in the world. It isn't. But what it does, it really tells exactly where you are in your relationship with your spouse. Because if you're telling someone else, you've just been called into the office, you get this bad news, and the first person you pick the phone up is not your spouse, but you tell your friend. I think that really tells a lot about where you are in
And
your...
and the thing about it is that, if you tell your friend, there's nothing wrong with that. But picture your spouse finds out later on. Spouse is going to be like, why would you not tell me first?
Yeah.
So these things we're talking about is not that you can't tell your friends. It's just
Yeah.
that to prevent any kind of disagreement or arguments, practice to make it that your spouse knows these things first.
Ooh, and I like the other ones. We're going to keep it with the job.
I like the first one.
Wait, we'll get there. We're going to get there. The second one is it's really about the job. So the first one was you lost your job. Now you got a promotion. Now this is a happy time. Would you slip away and tell your spouse, or will you tell it to a friend? And again, it's not the biggest deal in the whole world, but it really just kind of gives you the temperature of where you are with your spouse. Are they your next? And what we're trying to do is we just want you guys to have provocative and really great conversations in your home, not to fight about this, but to say it's going to give you an idea where you are.
Yeah. All right. Can I go to number 1?
Yeah.
This
This
one
is
is a-
really
this is-
touchy.
this is
I didn't
kinda-
want to go with it first, but anyway.
It's kind of tricky though, because
Yeah.
what we're saying on this one is your spouse should be the one who should open up and tell you before. A
This is
friend
sensitive,
tells
yeah.
you. So don't feel bad to tell your spouse this because you're helping them.
Just say
You have bad
J-
odor.
you've got bad body odor.
Yeah.
Or
you know,
bad breath or whatever it is.
So you don't want your spouse to leave the house with that and then somebody else is going to tell them. So I believe that we should be so close to each other as husband and wife that we should be able to tell each other.
I could see somebody saying, telling their best friend, I'm stinky or something. Or man, he's got bad breath. But Yeah,
So-
but you know, these some of them are touchy, some of them we're just having a little bit of fun with.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, can you imagine you tell your friend tells her husband, and then your husband tells your husband, that husband tells the other husband. It really just hurts feelings, and you know, you don't want to track your way back from something that you both should discuss at home.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other one, it's a great one.
Yeah.
This I don't know about so much, but I do. You're pregnant. This is for the girls.
I'm
So you're
pregnant-
pregnant. Yeah, if O'Neill's pregnant, there'd be a problem. But think about it. You're pregnant. Who do you call? And I know women, you want to call your mother and say it, or your best friend. But again, think about the close relationship. Think about the fact that, you know, he wants to share it with his buddies or his parents, and you don't give him that opportunity. What if he hears from somebody else who's so excited and thought that he knew? Your friend tells this one, oh my gosh. So now we've got, you know, everything is in real time. So can you imagine a friend sends like a group text, oh, Sharon's pregnant, and your husband's friend or cousin is in the group text and like, oh, I didn't know your wife was pregnant. And he's like, I didn't know either. So, you know, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's gonna create.
Yeah,
problems. It's
yeah.
gonna create, you know, some kind of feeling like, oh, so I'm not important enough. For
Yeah.
you to tell me first. So
I think that's the one that you've got to say to your spouse, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a little bit of time. The other one, I'm not happy. That's a big one. And you know what? I think I could see, I don't know if we're going to get done. What time is it? Okay, so I can see friends discussing this one
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
before
Yeah.
it gets to the spouse, because you're feeling this horrible, terrible, you know, and it should not be taken lightly, like you're not happy at home for whatever reason. So I could kind of see a wife telling this to her friend, like, hey, we've got to talk, meet me for coffee. Or even the guy saying to his best friend, hey, meet me, something's not right at home, whatever, you're just not happy. So, you know.
I could see that, yes. But
But-
think about this. What does it benefit you to tell your friend?
You get it off your chest on you. No, I'm
This still
kidding.
doesn't resolve the issue. So if you don't tell your spouse
Yeah.
and you tell your friend, you're going to remain unhappy. Because your friend can't
Yes.
make you happy. Your friend can't.
No, but your friend will
Temporarily.
pray with you.
Temporarily,
Your
yeah.
friend will pray with you, and your friend, hopefully you're going to the right, a Christian friend, and your friend will keep it, and you guys talk about it, and then maybe you'll even have a better approach, how to approach, instead of being frustrated and bitter, maybe a way. Listen, stuff that we're talking about, okay, so you always go to your spouse first. But I think this one, I totally understand if a wife or a husband seek a little bit of a corner.
Yeah, we're not saying
Yeah.
these things you can't tell your friends.
Yeah.
What we're saying is
Be
you
careful.
should tell
Yeah.
your spouse first.
You really should.
So we're not saying that you can't speak to friends about
Yeah.
it. We're just saying tell your spouse first. Because, like, for example, that one, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
If I go to a friend of mine and tell my friend, hey, you know what, I'm not happy in my marriage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going outside of the boundaries when I should be telling my spouse so that we could work on it. You know, what is making you unhappy? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. We have
We're at,
one
we've
more.
got, no, we're not going to, because I think I want to get into this one, and this one a little bit, more, a little bit more unpacking, because those are really important. But we are at the end of our time. So again, we're not saying, hey, you can't have friends that you know, shoot the breeze with and talk with, people who you can find confidence and godly people that they know that you will keep their confidence. But we're saying don't leave your spouse out of it. Don't let them be number 3 or even number 2, because what it does is it tells, it really just tells how your friendship is in the marriage, and that's what we want to work on.
Yeah, and also just to keep in mind, you know, you want to have communication.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
You know, that's the thing. It's all
Yeah.
about communicating with each other. So prioritizing your spouse, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, when you do that, when you go that route, you make your spouse feel like they are
Important.
priority,
Yeah.
and they're important. So,
Yeah.
anyway, we're at the end of our program, Marriage in 1 minute.
Feels like a minute. It's 15 minutes, but it does feel like a minute. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a privilege, and we really enjoy doing this.
I hope this is helpful to you guys, just to have important conversations in your home. Listen, we don't have to fight about every single thing. We can just talk about it and say, hey, well, how would you feel if I was to tell Debbie or Sharon? Would that hurt your feelings? And I think that creates intimacy, and it just creates just oneness, just talking with each other instead of yelling at each other.
That's it.
All right.
So join us next Saturday on Omega Radio for Marriage in a Minute. Check our website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And she's making a fun of me because I'm saying in your marriage.
All right, you guys have a great week. Light the night.
Yes.
All right.
All right, Omega Radio listeners, you were just tuned in to Marriage in a Minute here today on Omega Radio. We do hope that you were blessed by today's program and that you will tune in next week, Saturday, at the same time of 3:30 p.m. until 3:45 p.m. right here on Omega Radio. And we'd like to say a special thank you to the Highest for being a proud sponsor towards this radio ministry.
From this moment.
Hey, radio listeners, this is Michelle Hyatt,
And this is Karim Hyatt.
host of Marriage in a Minute. Tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. right here on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network for encouraging words on marriage.
And listen, guys, check out our new website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And remember, you are the MVP in your marriage.
From this moment.
Are you looking for a venue for your next event, such as weddings, concerts, seminars, and church spaces that can fit from 25 people to 500 people?
Don't forget Omega Building in Coral Springs have plenty of space when you think about concert, revival,